Right, but the brand new collection.
Yes, yes. We've added Mother Goose to the range, to the series, and although I mean Mother Goose, we think of nursery rhymes, but when you look at them, they could be used for so many different. It's not just for children, obviously. So we're going to start with Hickory Dickory Dock. It's Friday, so wine o'clock. These sheets, I've literally just stamped out each element once, so you can see what you can get on the stamp set. So we've got it at 1 o'clock, obviously, for the nursery rhyme, but I've done a second face with the hands. So say you want to do something for a baby's birth or a birthday or something, you want to be very specific about the time, you can set your own time on the clock.
Could we even maybe put a clock mechanism?
Oh, well, you could. I mean, it'd have to be pretty tiny, but I don't see why not.
Some of them you can cut them. Some of them you can cut the hands.
Yeah,
I don't know that. I know because I've done it.
Oh, that's really cool. I didn't think of that. Yeah, great idea. And then, you know, these little mice, they're mice obviously for Hickory Dickory Dock, but even just on little miniature cards on their own, or the sentiment with a mouse and a mouse holding the glass of wine.
And I was thinking, because that's a very good point, for if we wanted to do Christmas cards, not that there is anything Christmas here, but we could convert it into Christmas cards.
Yeah, absolutely could. I think it's really versatile, this design. I love it.
And it's also one of those ones, we always say, oh, how hard cards for men are.
Yes.
This is perfect, that one.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? So that's the first one. Then we've got Rubber Dub Dub, 3 ducks in a tub, which we've got the sentiment here. I like big boats, and I cannot lie.
Right.
Now that's that's in reference, I think, to a song, isn't it, Mel? Yeah. And Mel gave me the sentiment, and I said, "Well, what's that all about?" And she said, "Well, don't you get it?" I said, "No." And everybody we've shown it to laughed, other than me, and obviously you, Paola. I don't know if Mel wants to explain what it is. It's
Songs Baby Got Back.
Oh, it's from a song, Baby's Got Back.
See, it's what certain types of songs, they go completely over my head.
Yeah, ditto.
Exactly.
And then A Up My
I was
Duck.
going completely different road with that one, so.
A Up My Duck, if you're like Mel and I, who are from Northamptonshire, that's a Northamptonshire saying, which, if you're local, you'd so get it. And ready for a celebration.
Yeah, that one,
play on words. But we've also added these extra little curly cues. So if you wanted to extend the waves, you could. And then this one, some of our team have actually cut this one out and used it in completely different environment than in a tub. So again, it's really, really versatile, and I love these two.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, I love everything you design, but when it comes to this one, there is something incredibly beautiful, celebratory as well.
Yes, I love this, and the bit that is unique point, I think, is that each one of these is designed to fit on the bottom of this balloon. So we've just got a little basket with some fruit in it, so that, you know, could be for any occasion. This is a cake, so it could be a wedding cake, could be a birthday cake. Again, fits exactly, made to measure for this balloon, and the same with the boat. So depending on your occasion, you can fit it to adapt. You can fit this banner on here sticking out and write, you know, happy retirement or something, or this one if you want something a bit more flamboyant. This bunting, if you put it here, extends up, so you can extend your piece even further, and that's why I think again it's a really, really versatile stamp. And then, of course, there's the Aries, and we always try to put a silhouette on. And you saw what Gail did, a member of our DT team, literally just with this one little stamp. It's just so pretty, and again, extending. And we try as best we can to put either a corner or a border in, and that just repeated up and down would just be a really pretty design.
The whole thing when I look at this is I love the boldness, for instance, of the rampant. I love the delicate, the exquisite lines of the leaves in here. It's just so tiny.
Yes,
so
really
I like that contrast, and it's really reflective as well of the personality of an Aries as well.
Yes, I think so. And you see, I mean, it only gives away it being Aries and star sign. That's a star. That's part of the star sign. That one, and obviously Aries. Yeah. But if you took all those away and you wanted to use her as sort of...
even you say, for me the only one is Aries, because when I look at these I see the body of the antennae of a butterfly.
Yes,
and the same here. I would even be tempted to put this behind this, so it looks like a fairy has kind of flown out. You know, there's
absolutely.
so many so many elements in them.
Or a stem from there to there and put your flowers on. So, you know, it's got a lot to it. It's very versatile.
And I love the sentiment as well, be the kind of leader, you would follow, which is such a powerful one as well. If you are art journaling, that's kind of a aspirational, inspirational words in that. So
right, Paola, what we're going to do is now I'm working on the Bockingford. Now the Bockingford we've got on the show is A4 in size, and this obviously is a bit bigger. This actually was an A3 that I've trimmed down, and I'm only using it this dimension because I'm doing it on my final piece. But it's exactly the same as the A4. It's just a premium, as I said before, it's premium quality paper, and you can really work on it with brushes and palette knives and water. You don't get any pilling with it. It's got a low chalk content. It's made in the UK. It's just a fantastic product, and we use it on absolutely everything.
And I love that you know, you are one of these people that you love a product and you stick with it because you know you have chosen it wisely.
Yes, yeah. So I'm going to spritz it first with water because I'm going to do a very, very light background that I want to sort of spread and seep. So if you just prepare your paper first with a little bit of water, it just helps in doing that. And then I put my multi-surface onto my tile, or if you're at home, put it on a palette, and I want to use them quite dilute, and you apply wherever you want your colour to be. Now you can't control it greatly because obviously the water's going to make it spread where it wants to make it spread, but I try not to cover all of it with colour. I try and leave white areas.
Right.
And I think particularly when you're doing like faces and things, it's quite good to have some white areas so that you don't get blue skin or yellow skin and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So, right, you could either leave it to do its own thing, or by actually moving it around, you're encouraging this spread. So with the yellow and the blue, we're getting shades of green.
Nice.
Whoops. And if you feel that it's not spreading enough, just add some more water. I mean, I've got plenty on there, but and you know, don't worry about lines.
Like the stripes and the brush strokes.
I do too. And then, of course, once it's done, if there's any leftovers, we're just going to mop up, because again, that could be a lovely background that we can use.
Oh yes,
we might use.
You're working on a massive tile, right?
I always work on a massive tile. This is one that's in residence here. But I have an even bigger one at home.
Wow.
And
it would be as big as my house then if it's bigger than...
Well, I like a big tile, Paola, because anything, I call it like my wet area, and anything wet is constrained on, and I use it for pastes and mica powders and you name it, I use it, and then it doesn't go any further than my tile. So, I mean, you can see how it's blending, so I'm just going to dry...
I saw that there was a little bit of colour being pulled at the edges, and you wiped it off.
Well, when I'm at home, I actually wouldn't wipe it off. I'd actually leave it, but I want it to dry relatively quickly so I can work on it. So,
so we have got the option to do
yeah. And actually, the more lines in it, I prefer. It's all to do like mark making, and you know, all this sort of... I love these shapes because you can actually use them to your advantage. So, and again, I don't necessarily dry the paper off when I'm at home. I would leave it, because the longer you leave it, the more natural blending you get. And this is particularly important when you're using this technique on fabrics, because obviously fabric is really porous and you want to encourage that spread. If you dry it, you're literally stopping it in its tracks, which is not what you always want to do. So, so this is a multi-surface paint, so you can use it on your paper, you can use it on boards, MDF, permanent on fabric, so you would use it at this dilute stage and anywhere in between up until it's neat. Ooh,
I think Holly is fine. The displays, the acrylic displays are fine too, so that everything is fine.
So I think that's pretty well dry.
You know, it's a little bit more intense in real life, always with the cameras and the lighting here. It's a little bit, but it's absolutely already, it's beautiful.
Well, I want it to be pale because my next technique is I'm going to show you how to actually build up the depth.
Okay, perfect.
So,
yep.
right, so we're going to go on with, and I'm not doing that for any other reason, just to check that it's dry. So we're going to work with our balloon, and I just love the balloon. And the girls have been so creative with it by dissecting it and using it in so many different ways, not necessarily as a balloon. So I'm going to do the stamping actually on this piece, but I'm going to show the colouring on another piece that I've got prepared, but I'll just show you how well it stamps. Because it's got this sort of ribbon here, the girls have actually used that as a cut-off area and then used the top as like an umbrella, which I think is a really good idea. So we're going to go again. See, I quite like where it's white because some bits I want to keep white. And the one thing to note with this little piece up here, if you don't put it on your platform straight, it can look a bit skew-whiff. So just make sure that it runs in line. Which in my little sample I didn't do that, so it just shows what not to do. Okay, so you've got this beautiful balloon, and then. Where's my cloth gone? There it is.
You would swipe it clean with just a little bit of water?
Yeah, it's a little bit. I try to. I never used to, but actually I do think it gives a slightly crisper finish. And then, like I said, we've got choices now. What one have I not used over here? Well, let's do the cake because that's the one I've not done up there. So this is the cake, which I'm going to put on the bottom. And again, I think this will be just cracking for a birthday or a wedding, if you want to do a really nice wedding card.
Oh, that's so cool, isn't it? The fact that you can personalize it as a birthday card. And this is the thing, is like the birthday cake will work on its own, works with the balloon, you know, it works. I would imagine you could even do like the little house on top of the cake even.
You could.
So many possibilities.
And, you know, even that cake on its own, just on a little, you know, a tiny card would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah. And I want to show you how I've used this extender stamp. So you see it's going like that. I kind of want it to look like it's coming off from behind the flowers. So let's do it about like that. Can you see?
That's beautiful.
And then
absolutely.
If you wanted to, you could
even
carry it on, or with a bit of pen work, carry it on. So a bit of a clean, and then I just want to show this stamp on here. So this is just basically some construction of how it works, and then I want to quickly move on to painting and colouring using the multi-surface.
Oh, that's fabulous.
So you can see how it's growing.
Nice.
Isn't it pretty? And so that's how I would carry on.
Perfect.
And then pigment-wise,
I
think I'm going to work on this. I was going to work on here, but actually I'm going to come to this. This is one that I've prepared before, and what I've tried to do is sort of show it in different stages. So this one obviously has had a lot more work. This has had the extension. This has not really had anything.
Right.
And this is what I was saying about this.
Can
you see? It slightly bows off. It doesn't matter, but if you can just
make sure that you put it right.
Just take a little peep at it and make sure it's straight. So I've obviously done that one, so I want to work on this. So we're going to come back to our pigments again. I'm literally sticking to 2 colours, and I always think it's a good idea to do that if you can. And we want a nice brush, some water, and I want to try and keep this quite loose. I don't want it too regimented just yet. So with some yellow, now this one's going to have a different treatment, so we're going to work on this one. We literally just add wherever you want to do. Don't worry too much about lines, because line detail, as you work on it, you can do that towards the end. This is sort of almost like the underlay. If you're laying a carpet, it's a bit like that.
So don't be worried about the detail, because now you are going to be putting it later on.
Yeah, so
We have had a question from Sue.
Yeah.
Can you use the multi-surface paint on polymer stamps? So can you use it as an ink pad, basically?
You definitely can do that. The only thing you must do is once it's on, stamp with it, either repaint it or put it straight in water.
Right, yeah.
So you're very fastidious about cleaning it, so it doesn't actually dry on your photopolymer, that's all.
Yeah,
but
so
yeah,
as long
absolutely
as you clean
can.
it afterwards, you can.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. So if you have got any questions, email us in at the studio@createandcraft.com, and we will try to put them through Mel and Cathie. One of the things we will look about is that you sample with VersaFine Clay, right? Is that your choice of ink?
I do for, yeah, definitely for paper.
Yeah.
For fabric we use Versa Craft.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, for this, it's very good for the fine detail, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So all I'm doing here is adding a bit of pigment. So I add the pigment, and then I literally swirl my brush, and I've now got clean water on my brush, and then I'm using clean water, so the pigment sort of goes into, so you don't get these hard edges, and it almost looks like it was part of the original painting, doesn't it? Right, while you were away, I did add some neater colour onto the boat here, and I've added some colour in here, and I also wanted to show you this technique where you can see the sort of greying here, and also here.
Right.
I do that with an HB pencil, and it just I mean, if you contrast that to that, it just gives it a bit of, it's subtle, but it's a slightly vintage as well, I think. And I think the fact is that it's because it's grey.
Yeah.
You know.
It also gives you that shadow, right? So that three-dimensionality.
Yeah. So I'm just literally putting the pencil on it. So it has got a very good point to it. So, but it's got quite a long. I always sharpen my pencils with the scalpel. I never use it.
My dad does the same.
Yeah, because it exposes a bit more of the lead, and I've done it forever.
And my dad always said is because also you are not rotating. Rotating can damage the lead inside it. So that way you make sure that you maintain it as pristine as possible.
Is he a technical drawer?
Oh no, he's an artist.
Ah, right, okay, yeah. So can you see already, just by adding a little bit of grey, and it doesn't need to be all the way round, you know, just a little bit. And I use this technique a lot. I love pencil. I probably love it more than anything else because it's just the things you can do with it. And you know, soft, especially if it's in anything from an HB and all the Bs, which is a soft pencil, you can really go to town. So we'll just put a little bit there and a bit here, and then I want to, because I've got another demo I want to show our beautiful waxes. I found a new way of using them, which I'd like to share with everyone. But before I do that, I've actually put some white multi-surface paint, and this is where we just add our highlights, and that again can just make it pop. And I've tried to add a bit to these two, but so I can just show you how that works. Is with a very, very fine brush, and literally just dot it on. And if you know anybody sees my work, I use white dots on pretty well everything. But if you want to see more samples of Pink Ink Designs makes, just go to our group Facebook page, which is the Pink Inkers, and we've got some most amazing people that post beautiful things that they've made, and it's a happy place to be, and people always are very helpful actually on there. So that's how I would do the white. So I'd quickly do the white because I don't want it to smudge. And then what I've done is because I want contrast. You see the composition, we want to start with this balloon, and the composition kind of leads you up and then out of the picture. And can you see why it's important to have clear spaces? You don't necessarily want to have colour, also because of composition, and because I want this one to be the focal point, I'm actually going to make it dimensional.
That's beautiful.
So it sets it apart from the others.
Would you recommend to choose two colours and then stick throughout, and then just add shade and tints of it?
Yes, I would. Or what you could do is add like a third as an accent. So I mean, say you went in with these little flowers here with something like a pink, or like a really soft pink, or something like that would be really cool. So what I want to do is I'm going to actually glue the bottom and then 3D the top.
And I suppose as well, these are the images that I love the ISO sheet because it's one of those ones that I kind of think is such an uplifting image as well for birthdays, for moving homes, because you have got the house in there. You have the beautiful hearts kind of hidden there as well with the, you know, in this one.
Yes.
So it could be a wedding, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But can you see how this is all coming together? I mean, it's taken a bit of a while to do, but just 2 colours, multi-surface paint, a brush.
And remember, we have got the multi-surface paints on the show.
So I don't know if you want to see it as
yes,
as
please,
a whole.
We can, that is, and we can see 3 distinctive. Would you always go for 3 distinctive?
Yes, yes. It's much more pleasing to the eye to have an odd number, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, only one is full, so that's the focal point.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And what you could do is really go to town on this one with the colour, and then fade, so you haven't got quite so much shading on the others. But I think it's a lovely piece.
It is indeed a very beautiful piece.